Wildfire on the coast is a very real threat.
The frequency and intensity of wildfires is increasing. There's been no comprehensive wildfire mitigation efforts in the past. We could get caught in a really bad situation where a fire could be mountain peak to mountain peak and engulf the entire valley, and there wouldn't be much we could do about it.
What we need to do is create a plan, a response, and map. So in the long term is that it's not just a Nunumus crew, it's our community is capable of understanding fire on our landscape again.
Doing the work, this prevention work, we can action it, we can do something about it, we can stand a chance against it. Fire is a natural part of this ecosystem. The issue is the frequency and intensity increasing. Climate change, it's like we're getting more extreme weather. It affects the landscape on a major level. We've been doing wildfire risk reduction work in the community for the past 2 years and essentially getting rid of the fuels available to burn. So we measure all the ground fuels, the ladder fuels, how close trees are, the density, the conifer to deciduous ratios, and we reduce it to a point where if a wildfire were to go in that area, it wouldn't pose a significant risk. It wouldn't be that intense of a wildfire. So this was the highest area of threat. So it was priority 1 for this year. And we're treating this entire area to effectively mitigate the fire risk for both the lodge and the staff accommodations. And over here, we got some other treatment units that border the neighbors. The neighbors are on board with doing treatments as well. There's a communications tower here, which we are also looking at through another program, treating these critical infrastructure pieces. So it's really about creating comprehensive treatment areas. You tie in all these different parcels of land to create a comprehensive mitigation strategy against wildfire, because wildfire doesn't care about any sort of boundaries. It does what it wants. It's going to find the easiest path, and the area that's not treated is the easiest path. Once we're done here, this area will stand up against wildfire.
2023 was a very unprecedented year for wildfire, and we had an example of that here in the Bellicula Valley.
I think the Young Creek wildfire hit a little close to home last year. It was very visible and hit home for a lot of people that fire is going to be here, it's going to be present, and we need to manage for that and be prepared.
The new structures that have been built in the valley, and there is some areas where we had looked up, like the Nuxalk.
Right now, we are working towards the creation of a community wildfire resiliency plan, the creation of a FireSmart coordinator position, the creation of a community FireSmart resiliency committee. We're leading the charge on this work in a way that's not been seen with this program in the province yet so far. The CCRD has been really supportive of that. I think this plan is coming in at the right time to be able to identify the risk closer to home and have the public and the community be more involved in wildfire resiliency as a whole.
We've done a lot of outreach, community open houses, engagement sessions, and work in the schools. It's all been led by the nation, and the community here really has understanding that we are those people that can do this type of work. We get to engage with all these different stakeholders. We all sit at the same table and come up with these plans.
We had so many people involved from the onset. BC Parks, they heavily influence how far we can get up the valleys. And then of course we have 2 forestry companies down here that hold tenures. And then we have lots of private property owners that we're really pushing to inform about what resources there are that private landowners can use to make their homes and their properties more wildfire resilient.
Each year, I try and do a little bit more. You've motivated all of us. It feels good, the whole of Stewie now is just looking around at, our fire risks and working away at it. So we're all busy. It was just you and Ezra coming to visit us that really got us going. And so
Yeah, well, you're an example of a homeowner that's stayed well ahead of the curve. All of Stewie will be essentially protected against wildfire now.
At least we have done what we can.
This past week, we were joined in community by Foresight, who are our forestry consultants on this project. They're helping to deliver the community wildfire resiliency plan. We decided to go with Foresight because they produced a lot of great community wildfire resiliency plans that were visible around the province, and we really liked how they spoke about making the plan something that could be practical and actionable down here. We wanted to make sure our plan included places and things of cultural significance because they're a big part of what the nation values. The nation has been running their rediscovery camp in Kimsquit for decades now. It was identified last year because of the severity of the wildfire season that if we were to do a plan, Kimsquit and the rediscovery camp should be a big part of that plan. The nation's fire management team and Foresight got the opportunity to go out to Kimsquit and have a true sense of how important that area is out there. We were privileged enough to learn about the history of the area and some of the incredible sites surrounding the rediscovery camp. Through that conversation, we were able to discern which areas definitely needed a wildfire threat assessment.
So I'm assessing understory, so what it's composed of. So there's deciduous shrubs, and also you have conifer understory as well. And then I'm assessing the overstory composition, so species, the spacing, density, forest health concerns, so composition and structure. Each of the components has a different ranking or rating, and then the overall score at the end will tell us kind of what the hazard is of the stand.
In the mid-central coast district, we're the only active nation or municipality that is pursuing these wildfire risk reduction treatments. Other nations are starting up, but we are one of the first. This is the prescription site that we started this spring. So this is the treatment area itself. I think this suits our community's needs quite well, and our hope is that in the future we can turn this into a community park and have this area be a green space for our people to come and use and to harvest the bunch berries and the Queen's Cup and everything that you see here. So one of our thoughts is that we could be providing, hey, we'll give your basketball group $1,000 if you come out and help us for a day stacking sticks. It helps get them involved and out on the land and working with us and learning about this. And the response that we got from the youth was so positive. Like, we had kids that were asking if they could come out and just join us on their weekends and to do this work, and they really enjoyed it. And it's stewardship, right?
Yeah.
Which is the thing that we should be in the business of doing, and that our nation has done for thousands of years.
This FireSmart program, I think it's a really terrific way to create opportunity, to do it with such an integral piece of stewardship as well for the nation, like managing their forests the way they want to. It's really been a privilege to be a part of something like this.
How many valley bottom old growth culturally modified trees are left in this area? It's very few. This is rare. Makes this area kind of special. If we can plan to protect them, if we can create more knowledge about how rare these types of things are, and the fact that this is in such close proximity with our community, it creates, again, that unique opportunity to show that we can manage all of our resources for a net positive result.
My hope for this plan is to actually see some of the places that we identified get turned into treatments, and that the nation's wildfire management team and NFLP can be a part of that treatment, and then going forward use this plan to unlock a tremendous amount of opportunity and money to support how we are going to manage wildfire on the landscape in Nuxalk Territory.
The whole idea is that we're going to be able to provide the service of wildfire risk reduction, FireSmart assessments, wildfire crews, initial attack, training opportunities for our community. So in the long term is that it's not just a Nunumus crew, it's our community is capable of response, of understanding fire on our landscape again. And we're at a point now as a nation that we've brought these things together. We've put ourselves in a really good situation to be able to engage in these conversations. The next step forward is there and we are ready to take it. And that by taking that next step, we also lay down the foundations for the next step and then the next one. Things like this program, this helps us create future success.
As a forester, I've always been conflicted to work in logging operations, and it just wasn't my passion. So I'd like to help create a more resilient environment that's gonna stand up to the climate changes we're seeing. That's the great part about prevention work. We can put people's minds at ease.
Good work to see you as a young person and the rest of your crew taking that leadership role. You are the future.
I'm passionate about wildfire, but I'm more passionate about this community and uplifting the community. I provide a service that benefits people and the land.